Hi everyone, and you're very welcome back to the Justice for Aaron Brady campaign. In the recent videos from a few days past, we've covered this gentleman here, Ronan Flynn, his interactions with Garda Síochána, and we covered initially Mr. Flynn's attempts to recruit people to tell lies for financial gain and for green cards for legal access to the United States of America. We went through those, Ronan's canvassing of his cousin, and we covered that. And then we moved on to the affidavit created by Aaron's initial solicitor, Neil Manley, and we covered the times and the meetings of Garda Síochána and Ronan Flynn. In what we looked at from the book of the affidavit was the questions Aaron's solicitor Neil Manley put forward to Garda Síochána to ascertain their version of events of the meetings. So now we have to cover the affidavit, the sworn statement by Inspector Mark Phillips. It goes through the dates and the meetings. I think there's 5 or 6 pages, but I think what we're going to actually do is, I'm going to do this maybe in 4 or 5 different videos, break it down little by little and explain each lie Mark Phillips has told. So this is very simply a legal document which highlights quite clearly that this man here beside Ronan Flynn, Detective Mark Phillips, told a tissue of lies. Now, not only did he do it in this legal document here, he also done it on the 15th, on the 15th of April this year, between 11:10 a.m. and 12:45, Detective Mark Phillips told a tissue of lies, omitted very vital information in relation to his interactions with Ronan Flynn, Daniel Cahill, Christopher Morton, Anthony Maguire. And obviously, we are saying this is tantamount, and it is quite clearly perjury. This man perjured himself on numerous occasions during the course of Aaron's trial, and he did so on this date in April last year. And this was in relation to the trial Aaron was involved in, where Aaron was taken to court for a tendency to pervert the course of justice. Aaron was found guilty, he was sentenced, and just bring it up here, you can see the DPP have appealed this sentence, and you can see there in the red box, on Thursday the 20th of February 2025 in Court 16, Criminal Courts of Justice, Justice McCarthy, Justice O'Moore, Justice McGrath, 10:30 a.m. For the hearing undue leniency. So it's DPP versus Aaron Brady, and Aaron's co-accused DPP versus Dean Byrne. So for anyone that's interested, we'd be more than happy to have your support at that hearing. Notwithstanding that, I suppose the object of these videos, this man here, Ronan Flynn and Ronan Flynn's family. On this date, Mark Phillips got up and swore on the testimony that the Bradys, Aaron Brady or the Brady family in some way intimidated Ronan Flynn and Ronan Flynn's family. Now, we have text messages, voice messages, and recorded conversations with Ronan Flynn, which clearly contradicts that. We have never, ever intimidated anyone. We've had no need to intimidate anyone. And I suppose it's very, very important to point out here, Ronan Flynn made initial contact with us. We have that message he sent to my daughter, and we've shown that on numerous occasions. So any suggestion that we forced ourselves upon Ronan Flynn, nothing could be further from the truth. And indeed, we have been in possession of these horrible, pathetic text messages where he was trying to recruit people. And Ronan gave several assurances on numerous occasions that he was going to come forward and do the right thing and just tell the truth. But he's got himself into such a predicament that he thinks this is all going to go away. I'm not sure if Ronan is still in contact with Mark Phillips. I'm not sure what Mark Phillips is promising Ronan, if he's promising him anything. But hopefully with our continued scrutiny, we will find out what is happening as we move forward. So we're just quickly going to have a look at these 5-6 pages of lies, perjury, collusion, corruption, omissions by Inspector Mark Phillips. So just bring up the first page here, and this was actually a cover page for all the criminals that Mark Phillips was doing the deals with, and Pat Marry. This page you see here was a prelude to all the details given by Mark, all the lies Mark Phillips told about, as I say, Morton, Maguire, Cahill. And of course, this one, Ronan Flynn. So you can see it's on Garda Síochána corner, the incident room, the dock, Aaron Brady versus the DPP. And it's a report regarding witnesses interviewed by members from the Garda investigation team in the USA. And this is obviously in relation to Ronan Flynn. With reference to the above, I am to report as follows. This is Mark Phillips reporting. The United States Department of Homeland Security Investigations is providing assistance to the Garda investigation team in relation to the investigation into the murder of Detective Garda Adrian Donohue, which occurred at Lordship Credit Union, County Louth on 25th January 2013. Requests for assistance are forwarded to Special Agent Matt Katsky, Assistant Attaché to Homeland Security Investigations in the United States Embassy, London. These requests are forwarded to Agent Katsky in advance of any travel being undertaken by members from the Garda investigation team. So again, we've covered this on numerous occasions that Mark Phillips, Pat Marry and Agent Katsky had a very, very close bond. And yet, Judge Michael White believed, and we were asked to believe, that nobody in the investigation team here in Ireland knew that Matt Katsky was running around Belfast Airport offering inducements and green cards and all sorts of favours to then suspects. So every paragraph of every sheet of paper that these people write, we can prove is a lie. And we have shown it. It's there in black and white. On a number of occasions, it was necessary for members from the Garda investigation team to travel to the United States of America to conduct inquiries, including conducting interviews with persons. It is normal protocol for law enforcement personnel from the home nation to provide assistance to the visiting police officers, including being present where necessary, where inquiries and interviews are being conducted. It's a great pity, Mr. Phillips, didn't hold that paragraph in any esteem, as Matt Katsky allegedly went rogue and went round interviewing, offering inducements and bribing and threatening witnesses. So again, I promise the public, every paragraph these people write, we can contradict it. Particularly if it's anything got to do with the criminals, the drug dealers, the paedophile lovers that they were doing deals with. So we move on to page 2 here. This document deals with the witness who was interviewed by members of the Garda investigation team in relation to the investigation into the murder of Detective Garda Adrian Donohue, which occurred in Lordship, County Louth on 25th of January 2013. This document will set out the interactions between the witnesses and members of the Garda investigation team. This document set out the interactions between the witnesses and the members of the Garda investigation team, and also between the witnesses and members of the United States Department of Homeland Security, HSI, Homeland Security Investigations, where this information is available to the writer. This document is also set out the status of the witnesses in the United States at the time of their interaction with the members of the Garda investigation team. Very important, their status. So anyone would imagine if they were going to speak to someone, an Irish person in America who was an illegal immigrant who had an extradition warrant, that status would be vitally important. That status would rule them out as any sort of possible witness in any case, let alone a capital murder case. But we've mentioned that on numerous occasions. But we have to keep reiterating these things because it's so unbelievable, it is difficult for the public to understand how criminal Mark Phillips and Pat Marry are, with the help of Homeland Security agent Matt Katsky. So Ronan Flynn. As a result of information provided by Molly Staunton, a task was created to locate and interview Ronan Flynn in New York. Again, it's of no great consequence, but again, it's a lay. If you listen to Pat Marry's podcast, The Making of a Detective, allegedly there was American detectives following Aaron in America, and they actually seen Aaron putting a water bottle in a bin, which was very highbrow stuff on Pat Marry's podcast. And they also seen Aaron putting up a bouncy castle for the kids, the family fun day on McLean Avenue, which was at front page of the newspapers here in Ireland. But notwithstanding that, these detectives were following Aaron, so they would have known Aaron was living with Ronan Flynn, was sharing an apartment with Ronan Flynn. So to bring Molly Staunton into it again, it's something we will go into in much more detail when we scrutinise Ronan's statement in comparison to Molly Staunton's statement. The two things were supposed to happen simultaneously at the same time, this outburst by Aaron, and yet the two statements are poles apart. But we will definitely drill down into the two statements when we bring that to you. A task was created to locate and interview Ronan Flynn in New York in August 2017. Members from the Garda investigation team travelled to New York to conduct a number of inquiries in relation to the investigation into the murder of Detective Garda Adrian Donohue. On the 30th of August 2017, inquiries were conducted by HSI investigation to locate Ronan Flynn to ascertain if he would agree to be interviewed in relation to any knowledge he had regarding the murder of Detective Garda Adrian Donohue. An address was established for Ronan Flynn, and on the 31st of August 2017, Rebecca Flynn, wife of Ronan Flynn, was visited at her home by members of Homeland Security investigations. Later that day, Ronan Flynn was visited at his place of work at a bar in New York by members of Homeland Security investigations. He was asked if he wished to meet with members from the Garda investigation team in connection with the murder of Detective Garda Adrian Donohue. He agreed to meet for an interview the following day, the 1st of September, and Ronan Flynn later cancelled the meeting on the 1st of September. So there was hesitation and problems from the very outset. So then, obviously they were chasing Ronan down. Ronan wasn't coming forward, so this is in August 2017. We move then, next paragraph. In October 2017, members from the Garda investigation team travelled to the United States to conduct a number of investigative tasks. The tasks included the interview of Ronan Flynn if he agreed to the same. On arrival in New York, Inspector Phillips was made aware that inquiries by Homeland Security investigations had discovered an immigration issue with Ronan Flynn, and that there was a warrant for his arrest to investigate this immigration issue further. Phillips was advised that this warrant would be executed prior to any interview between Ronan Flynn and members of the Garda investigation team. Inspector Phillips was informed that once the matter in relation to the warrant had been processed, that Ronan Flynn would be asked if he wished to speak to the members of the Garda investigation team. He would be informed that he would be under no obligation to do so. This is just absolutely pathetic and barefaced. It's not even lays. There is no way for Phillips to lay his way out of this. There is no way. So we've covered this before, but it's vitally important that in August 2017, Phillips met with Ronan. There was some sort of discussion, a meeting was due to take place, and that didn't happen. So Ronan scurried underground, and obviously Phillips came back in October 2017. And in October 2017, this man here, Mark Phillips, was made aware that there was an outstanding extradition warrant for Ronan. Now, Obviously, we have October 2017. We have August 2017. We have to believe, and this is where the omissions and the lies are so blatant. We have to believe that Homeland Security, Mark Phillips and the Irish Guards didn't know about Ronan's extradition. These dates are vitally, vitally important. So the Guards were hiding Ronan's extradition warrant in August 2017. They were hoping that Homeland wouldn't stumble across it. But obviously, by October 2017, because Homeland were investigating a little into Ronan, because the Guards were interested in him, they discovered that Ronan was wanted for GBH, had drug charges in Ireland, and was wanted on an extradition warrant. Now, the important part of this here is, so we have to believe, Mark Phillips says, on arrival in New York, Inspector Phillips was made aware that inquiries by Homeland Security Investigation had discovered an immigration issue with Ronan Flynn. This is a legal document. This is a legal document that this man here is supposedly replying to. The immigration issue is, and it should be stated, Mark Phillips should have written in this document, Ronan Flynn had an European extradition warrant outstanding for his arrest and his deportation back to Ireland. And he tries to admit it, and because this whole thing is so blatant, he can't even lie about it. But he just glosses over it as a European arrest warrant. No big deal. We'll just, as we go into the next videos, we'll see how it's made disappear. But it's vitally important that you, the public, understand that in August, Phillips and Paul Gill, Phillips' right-hand man in America is a Garda called Paul Gill. Paul Gill was at the arrest of Ronan Flynn when Ronan Flynn was caught with drugs in Carlingford. Paul Gill was involved in Ronan Flynn's case where Ronan attacked Tommy Eccles with a Coca-Cola bottle and kicked the life of him on the ground. Paul Gill was involved. The incident room in the dock, Pat Murray, Mark Phillips, Christy Mangan, Martin Beggy, all the senior investigating officers and superintendents in the dock, every fucking last one of them knew Ronan was wanted. And he had an extradition warrant. And it is so important, before we move on with the rest of Ronan's disgusting story, that this is understood. Now, the next few lines in this paragraph here. So they discovered there was an issue with Ronan Flynn and that there was a warrant for his arrest, investigate this immigration issue. Now, it's not that he was illegal. That's not only like the standard poor Irishman over there that's illegal, that's over there doing a bit of work and making ends meet and making a few dollars for himself. That's fine. He's got immigration issues. He hasn't got the right papers. But Ronan has a European arrest warrant, and that's just a little immigration issue. Inspector Phillips was advised that this warrant would be executed prior to any interview between Ronan Flynn and members of Garda Síochána. So this is very important. Unfortunately, it goes from the bottom of page 2 there to the top of page 3. I just want to read this again. Inspector Phillips was advised that this warrant would be executed prior to any interview between Ronan Flynn and members of Garda Síochána. Now, if that warrant was executed, Ronan Flynn would have been on the next flight out of America, back here to face charges in Dundalk Court or Dublin Criminal Court for his attack on Tommy Eccles. Bottom line. There is no other legal route. There are no other legal loopholes. There are no other legal procedures other than Ronan on a plane back to Ireland. And this is what we have to make so clear. The guards hiding the warrant, the European arrest warrant in August 2017. Homeland Security find out about it in 2017, and it should have been executed. Mark Phillips is telling us here, so somewhere in the paperwork we received, somewhere in the paperwork we have not received, the thousands and thousands of documents that have been withheld from Aaron's defence team, and Aaron's human rights being absolutely trampled over once again with information withheld, is the documents telling Mark Phillips, we've discovered Ronan Flynn has a European arrest warrant. He's an illegal immigrant. He has drug charges in Ireland, GBH, absconded, and he's wanted in Ireland for very, very serious assault charges. We have seen none of that. Now, there's little hints of it, and it's only because of information we had garnered and investigated ourselves that we brought this to the fore. Like many, many things that were raised in respect of all these criminals. It was us who found out about the machete attack Daniel Cahill committed on ordinary people in New York. It's us that found out that Christopher Morton had stolen from those he worked on and had absconded, had got a visit from paramilitaries, and he had to leave his own town. It is us that found out about Anthony Gerard Maguire, that he absconded after being caught with £30,000 in cash, £30,000 worth of cocaine, left his girlfriend and child behind him and fecked off to America. So we are very well entitled to do those investigations, and we know now about Ronan's extradition warrant. There are no other legal routes. There is no way under the sun Ronan Flynn should be allowed to stay in America. There is no way under the sun that Ronan Flynn should have been allowed to be put forward as a witness in a capital murder trial. And although he never came forward, again, it's very important to highlight these things, he was used in the background. And then you have this idiot here.
The word spread. Irish cops were in town. Witnesses were found who had crucial evidence in the case.
There was approximately 5 persons who came forward with information in where they stated that Aaron Brady had mentioned he was the one who shot the guard, and
telling us that 5 people came forward. None of them came forward. They're all arrested because they were criminals, drug dealers, paedophile lovers. So that's the first part of Mark Phillips's interactions with Ronan Flynn. As you can see, there's other dates where they meet, and we will go through how those meetings went, how this man here portrayed them, but how he has in this legal document the omissions, the lies and the perjury by this man here, Detective Mark Phillips. Not only in this document, but on the 15th of April 2024. And there's that date up again for the appeal next Thursday. So again, Ronan Flynn and the Flynn family can come in and say, just tell the truth. That's all they have to say. Don't have to put words in their mouth. And Ronan has given us the truth in these text messages. So we'll finish with the text message where Mark Phillips omitted all this in his legal document. But we'll read this again. We've read it numerous times, but it's important we read it again to put in context the lies and the perjury of Mark Phillips. So this is a text message Ronan sent to a friend. They arrested me at my job in front of a whole bar full of people. I lost my job. They held me when handcuffed with 7 cars of police. Told me I was going home. I'll never see my wife and child again, on some bullshit about Tommy Eccles' case that was fake paper. Kept me handcuffed to the side of the cell. busted into my house with no warrant to search it, made an example of me over here, took my interview for my 10-year green card after that, because I told them when I got a lawyer, I want my statement taken off this. It was a forced fake statement. The guard basically wrote it himself. And so for that, they took my file from immigration because I wouldn't help them with the Aaron Brady case. I was trying to expose them. And Ronan has made a number of sort of attempts to placate himself with us, but he hasn't taken that final step, and that's why we find ourselves having to move into showing all this and going into more detail and highlighting what it is that Mark Phillips and Garda Síochána, the totally illegal actions by them to get false statements against our son Aaron, which ultimately led to, and all these statements were used to frame our son for a murder he physically couldn't have committed, which we've covered that. So we'll be back again. This is, as you can see there, it's video number 1 on Mark Phillips's lies and omissions and perjury in an affidavit, and we'll continue in the next video with that. Please like, comment and share. Everyone, a lot of people, friends and family are mentioning to us how we are being shadow banned, how they're messing with our numbers and attacking all Aaron's social media platforms. And we do need your help, and just press that button, subscribe, share or comment. Thank you, and we'll see you in the next video when we look at more detail at how this man framed our son. See you in the next video.